Before the first patient walks in tomorrow, someone on your team has to answer a quiet question about each one. Is this person actually covered, and for what? That's the eligibility check. And for most practices, it's a stack of portal logins and phone calls that eats the first hour of every morning. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to build a workflow that runs first thing each morning and checks tomorrow's patients. So your team has the whole day to fix any problem before those patients arrive. It logs every result and puts only the problems in front of your staff. No portal marathon and nothing important slipping through to the front desk at check-in. Here's a cost that never shows up on a schedule. Every patient coming in tomorrow needs their insurance checked before they arrive. Is the plan active? What's the copay? How much of the deductible is left? Get it right and the visit runs smoothly. Miss it and you find out at check-in in front of the patient, when it's most awkward and most expensive to fix. So someone does it by hand. They log into one payer portal, then another, then pick up the phone for the plan that doesn't have a portal, and they do that for every name on tomorrow's list. It's slow, it's repetitive, and it almost always happens first thing in the morning, the exact moment the phones start ringing and the waiting room starts filling up. But look at the shape of this work. The list of patients is known the day before. The question is the same every time. And the answer comes back in a predictable format. Known input, fixed question, structured answer. That's not a job that needs a person logging in one by one. That's a job for a workflow that runs while the office is dark. Let's be precise about what we're building, because AI eligibility check can sound like more than it is. This isn't a black box that decides who gets care. It's a scheduled batch job with a checkpoint at the end. Once a day, before anyone's in the office, it pulls tomorrow's appointments, asks each patient's insurance the standard eligibility question, and reads back the answer. Is coverage active? What's the copay? What's left on the deductible? Every single result gets written to a log, so there's a complete record of what was checked and when. That's the part that runs on autopilot. Then comes the one judgment the workflow is allowed to make, and it's a narrow one. Sort each patient into ready for the visit or needs a human to look. Coverage came back inactive. That's flagged. Deductible so high the patient should get a heads up about cost. Flagged. Everything else is marked ready and left alone. Your staff never reads the whole list. They open one short tab of exceptions and handle just those. The machine does the looking, the person does the deciding. Let's build it. Same setup as the other videos on this channel. N8N for the workflow, mock data only. No real patient information anywhere in this demo. If you're brand new to N8N, there's a full setup walkthrough linked in the description that takes you from zero to a running workflow. Do that first, then come back here. The first section is Gather, get tomorrow's list. It starts with a schedule trigger set to run every weekday morning at 7 a.m. And notice it pulls tomorrow's schedule, not today's. That's deliberate. Checking a day ahead means if a plan comes back inactive, your staff has the whole day to sort it out before the patient shows up, instead of scrambling at check-in. When it fires, the next node reads the practice's appointment sheet and keeps only the rows dated for tomorrow. In this demo, that sheet is a plain Google Sheet standing in for your scheduling system. In a real deployment, this is where you'd read from your EHR or practice management calendar instead. Either way, the output of this section is a clean list. Exactly the patients who need a check before they walk in and nobody else. Section 2 is Verify. Actually ask the insurer. There are 3 steps, and the middle one is where I need to be straight with you about what's mock and what's real. First, we assemble the question. This node takes each patient row and builds a clean, standard eligibility request. Member ID, payer, date of birth, the date of service. Real eligibility runs on a standard format the whole industry uses. You send what's called a 270 request, and you get back a 271 response. All this step does is put our patient's details into that shape. Second, we send it. In this demo, that's a mock, a small code step that returns a realistic 271 answer based on the member ID, so the results are stable every time I run it, which is what you want when you're recording. Here's the real-world version. In a live deployment, this one node becomes a call-out to a clearinghouse, a service like Eligibility or Steady that's actually connected to the payers, and it returns the patient's true current coverage. The workflow around it doesn't change. You swap the mock for the real connection, and everything before and after it stays exactly the same. That's the whole point of building it this way. Third, we read the answer. The response comes back dense, so this last step pulls out just the fields that matter. Is coverage active, the plan name, the copay, and how much deductible is left. Now, every patient has a tidy, comparable result, and we're ready to decide what to do with each one. Section 3 is decide and log. Turn those results into something your morning can actually use. Everything flows into one decision node. Its rule is deliberately simple, and you can read it right off the screen. If coverage came back inactive or the remaining deductible is $1,000 or more, this patient needs a human. Everything else is ready for the visit. Watch what happens to our 3 patients. Avery Holt comes back active with a normal copay. Ready? No action. Marcus Reed comes back inactive. That plan isn't going to pay, and you want to know that today, not at check-in tomorrow. And Priya Shah is active, but she's on a high deductible plan with most of the deductible still unmet. Coverage is fine, but she's walking into a bigger bill than she expects. And a quick heads up from your office is the difference between a good visit and a surprise. The first is left alone. The other 2 get flagged. And here's the logging, which is the quiet hero of the whole thing. There are 2 records by design. One is the full eligibility log, every patient checked, every result, with a timestamp. That's your proof the work was done and your history if anyone ever asks. The other is a short follow-up list. Only the flagged patients, with the reason spelled out: coverage inactive, high remaining deductible. Your staff opens that one tab in the morning and sees exactly who needs a call and why. The other 20 names on the schedule, already handled, already logged, nothing to do. 2 things close the loop. First, what actually reaches your team. The point of this workflow isn't to do less checking, it checks everyone. The point is to collapse a pile of portal logins into a short list of exceptions. On a normal day, that might be 2 or 3 names out of 20, each with a clear reason attached. Your front desk starts the morning knowing precisely where to spend its attention, instead of discovering problems one awkward check-in at a time. Second, where the human stays in the loop. Because this touches money and coverage, and that matters. Notice what the workflow does not do. It never cancels an appointment, never tells a patient they're not covered, never makes a billing decision. All it does is check and flag. A person always makes the call about what to tell the patient and how to handle it. The automation removes the busy work, not the judgment. And one honest note on compliance. This demo runs on mock data, so there's no protected health information anywhere in it. A real eligibility workflow touches some of the most sensitive data a practice holds, patient identity and coverage, so a live deployment needs the compliant path. The right hosting, a signed business associate agreement, the whole setup. That's genuinely the part most practices get wrong, and it's exactly the part we handle for you. Whether it's a properly hardened self-hosted N8N or a healthcare native platform built to be HIPAA compliant from day one, we'll point you to the right fit for your practice. I've packaged this whole workflow as a free download, the importable N8N file and the ready-to-use tracking sheet, so you can drop in your own schedule and start checking eligibility overnight. The link's in the description, grab it, and you've got the skeleton of your own morning eligibility engine. If you'd rather have it built and connected to your real schedule and a live clearinghouse instead of assembling it yourself, you can book a working session on that same page. Either way, subscribe. I break down one of these practice automations in every video, and prior authorization is coming up next. And if you'd rather build on a platform that's HIPAA compliant out of the box, I use Caragon. Link in the description. Quick disclosure, they're an affiliate partner, so that link supports the channel. See you in the next one.